To call to order this meeting of the Legal Affairs Committee. On the committee here this evening, we have Councilors O'Neill, Councilors Gould, sitting in for Councilor Gravel, Councilor Manning Martin, is that all right? And sitting in for Councilor Matsoulis will be Councilor Turco. Thank you. Oh. All right, you're out. That was very quick. I thank you. Appreciate all your support, Councilor Manning Martin. Also here this evening, I'd like to thank them for being here. Councilor Charest, Councilor Manning Martin, Councilor Rosignol, Councilor Melville, thank you for attending. First order of business, item 1, purchase of city-owned land, end of Rockway Road. On your desk, councilors, there's a late communication from Attorney James DeCoulis, stamped by the City Clerk's Office, February 22nd. Can I have a motion to receive the late communication by Councilor O'Neill?
Seconded.
You heard the motion. All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. We have a request here to table this matter, and they're looking at an alternative means of working out their differences. And my intent, unless there's anything, unless I hear anything different, would be to leave this in committee and not schedule a date certain until we find out how they've progressed on working out the issue. Does that sound reasonable to the committee? Yes, Councilor Gould.
Mr. Chairman, if I can help with something, the audio is not working again, Tim. It's not coming out of this mic, these mic bases. Is it? It's not coming out of ours. Is it? I didn't know if there was a switch to. Okay. Testing, 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 testing. Yeah.
It's not coming out.
It is? It's not coming out of Mark's.
Councilor Gould, perhaps you could grab the microphone to your left there and see if that's any better. Testing, 1, 2. Just use that one for now. Okay, the second order of business, item B, is an easement request from Georgia Inc., DBA Trackside Bar and Grill, 30 Warren Street. Appearing here this evening on their behalf is Attorney Bonzalitis. Attorney, if you could explain this request. Thank you.
Good evening. I represent John Betancourt. He's trustee of the Trackside Realty Trust. He owns the property at 29 Crowninshield Street and 30 Warren Street. We have the property under agreement. The property has 2 buildings on it. The front building is the restaurant building, and the back building is a 2-family. And as you can see from the easement plan I submitted to the council, a very small portion of the front part of the restaurant building encroaches into the street layout, more or less within the sidewalk. I think it's only 65 square feet. However, the buyer and his lender don't want to proceed to closing unless we can get a easement from the city of Peabody allowing it to remain. And I'll answer any questions the council may have.
Thank you, Attorney Bonzalitis. Also here this evening with us is Assistant City Solicitor Adam Buckley. Attorney Buckley has reviewed this request, and if I could ask if you could comment on it, please, for the committee.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I did look over the easement. I did speak with Attorney Bonzalitis, and I see no issues with the way that it's written. And how it's going to be filed.
Other committee members? Seeing none, I'll accept the motion by the City Council of the City of Peabody to authorize the mayor to grant and execute a permanent and exclusive right and easement upon a portion of the Warren Street right-of-way layout to John M. Betancourt as trustee of Trackside Realty Trust, shown as Easement A on a plan entitled Easement Plan 29, Crown and Shield Street, Peabody, Mass., for John Betancourt, dated December 11, 2017, prepared by Civil and Environmental Consultants, LLC. I'll accept that motion.
So moved.
You heard the motion from Councilor Turco. Roll call.
Councilors O'Neill,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Turco, Gravel,
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Attorney Bonzilides. The third item on the agenda is item C, zero-emission vehicles charging stations. The committee will recall this is a matter that was brought to us by then Councilor at Large Tom Walsh, now State Rep Tom Walsh, who contacted me recently, again, requesting that we advance this. I think the motivation behind it was that he had seen other municipalities taking action on this, and he thought that it made sense for the city of Peabody to proactively take action on it, as it will become more common over time for charging stations to be located throughout the city, that we have the ordinance language in place to support that. You have before you some draft language that was prepared by the Assistant City Solicitor, Adam Buckley. And any debate on the language or questions for Attorney Buckley? Seeing none, I have a couple of comments to make. The draft that you have only makes reference to on-street charging stations, and I think we need to contemplate charging stations that would exist elsewhere. In fact, that was specifically brought up by Representative Walsh when he first made the motion. These would be charging stations that might exist in a municipal parking lot or might exist on private property, and he, at the time, mentioned the example of the North Shore Mall. So I think the suggestion I made is that we remove from the second heading the word on-street, so that heading now reads parking and zero-emission vehicles charging stations, rather than how it reads now, which is on-street zero-emission vehicle charging stations. The second request in that same spirit would be under that same heading, subsection A, purpose, just remove the word curbside, so that we're not limiting it to curbside charging stations. So that would now read zero-emission vehicle charging stations are reserved for charging zero-emission vehicles. Those were the two edits I am suggesting. Any other comments? Councilor Gravel.
I was just going to say, great comments on your part. Do you need a motion?
I'll accept the last thing is we just need a place for this to fit into the ordinances. So I think that this should now become subject to verification by the city clerk's office, I think. But I think this should be section 19-118 of the ordinances, which would be a new section. So the motion would be to establish Section 19-118, as prepared by the Assistant City Solicitor and as edited during this committee meeting, and to advertise. Take that motion, Councilor Gravel. You heard the motion from Councilor Gravel. Roll call. Oh, Councilor Manning.
First, I couldn't hear Councilor Gravel's motion, and I have a question about the changes that you made. I didn't hear what the motion was.
So the motion is to establish this language as Section 19-118 of the City of Peabody ordinances as edited, and you have a question on the edits?
I do. Did you say on, it said the first one is zero-emission vehicle charging stations generally, right? And then you went down to the next bold print, and you struck on street. You struck the word on street. Is that correct? So
Right.
it says zero-emission vehicle charging stations generally again?
No. It says parking. The edit is going to, the edited language will read parking and zero-emission charging stations generally. So the word on street, the hyphenated word on street will be eliminated, and the word in the next subsection, curbside, would be eliminated. Curbside. We're trying not to limit it to just a curbside only. We're trying to make
Okay,
it.
so the second one says curbside zero emission. And then under A, purpose, did you strike the word curbside again? I'm with Councilor Gould. I'm having trouble hearing you guys.
I'm sorry, but let me try to be more clear. So in the second heading, it currently reads on-street zero-emission vehicles, correct? Okay, so that would be changed to read parking and zero-emission vehicle charging stations. Okay, that's edit number one. Edit number two is in the right below that, subsection A, purpose, simply removing the word curbside. Is that?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Manning Martin. We have a motion on the floor. Roll call.
Councilors O'Neill,
Yes.
Gould.
Yes.
Turco.
Yes.
Gravel.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
I'll accept a motion.
Move to adjourn.
So moved. We're adjourned.